Could there be release issues with the upcoming big handhelds that are coming out, the Lenovo Legion Go 2 and the ROG Xbox Ally? The Zenimax developers, as we know, their game got canceled, and a lot of people that said that that game looked pretty good from internal testing and everything. They still want to make another game, even though the one that they had been working on is no more. Hideki Kamiya comments on Scalebound again. They're still talking about Scalebound. He's taking full blame here for the failure of it. We have a lot of leaks for Battlefield 6, some more game announcements, some PlayStation 6 news in terms of what potentially is going to be the full potential for the next generation on that platform. So we will take a look at that, plus some other things. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe button, share this video, like it if you do enjoy it. But for now, let's get into the news. So we are a month out from the release of the ROG Xbox Ally, and then the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is coming out soon after that, about 10 days after the release of the ROG Xbox Ally. So there's some massive handhelds coming out. They're both featuring the new Z2E APU, which is going to be able to push these handhelds even further and give us better performance. And I think that's a pretty exciting thing to see how these things do work in the real world. But we don't have any information on the ROG Xbox Ally. Release dates is the only thing that we do know, but we don't know the price and we don't have any pre-orders. Whereas the Lenovo Legion Go 2, they've already had pre-orders. We know the pricing and everything, but apparently there are problems. And maybe this is one of the reasons why we don't know anything here about the ROG Xbox Ally yet, because potentially they're trying to wait out these problems before they make any official announcements. We have this here saying that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 pre-order problems cast doubts on the ROG Xbox Ally release. This was via Windows Central reporting on this about how the pre-order date was pushed back more than a month, with the original ship date of September 16th shifting all the way to October 26th with no proper explanation from Lenovo. Saying here, what did shock me was how the shipping dates rapidly changed. When I pre-ordered initially, Lenovo had listed the shipping date as of September 16th, 2025. However, the shipping date magically changed to October 24th, 2025, over a month from the initial purchase. Lenovo initially set a hold on my payment in my account for the purchase, but has since released the hold. Oddly, this person says, and this is via Reddit, that their Lenovo Legion Go 2 pre-order has been canceled. They say disappointed by the communication. Specifically, what happened here is they opened their pre-order. They were promised a 6 to 9 delivery window, I guess 6 to 9 day delivery window. But out of nowhere, the date was pushed back to October 24th, and there was zero communication about the delay. And then when they reached out to customer service, the response they got was vague and awkward with no clear explanation. And then I guess their order overall, they've canceled it because of that. So that, with the ROG Xbox Ally on the way, we have no information on it, and we don't know when we're going to be getting the announcement for the pricing or anything, or pre-orders for it. Maybe there's some issues here going on with the chips inside of these things. Like, who knows what the problem could be, but it is kind of interesting and concerning a little bit here that we haven't had an official announcement from Xbox, from Microsoft, or from Asus about how much these things will cost and when they're going to be able to get the pre-orders up to get people who want them ready to pick them up and have them shipped out to the customers. So maybe next week, maybe that will be the time with the Tokyo Game Show coming up where they will give us that information. But I wouldn't be shocked right now, because we are September 18th at this point, if there's a delay in the launch of the ROG Xbox Ally, just kind of the way I'm looking at it and the way that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 has been handled. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if they still hit that October 16th. And maybe next week, everything will be cleared up, like I said, at the Tokyo Game Show. So as we know, with the recent cancellations of games, one of the games that was canceled was the new one that Zenimax was working on, the people behind the Elder Scrolls Online. They were working on another MMO. And from information that was coming out about that MMO, it did sound pretty exciting. But I mean, if you've never seen the game or anything yet, I was not disappointed, because I just don't know anything about it other than stuff that I've read. And we don't know how it was exactly going to turn out. But it looks like the people at ZeniMax aren't turned off yet about making new games, because it looks like they still want to make something new despite Microsoft's cancellation of their game. It says ZeniMax devs still want to make something new despite Microsoft's cancellation. This was in a new interview with GamesIndustry.biz. Nick Giacomini and Rich Lambert of ZeniMax talked about the ESO, and that game has been extremely successful. And the fact that they still actually want to go out there and do more stuff, they say, I don't think you can ride one thing into forever. I mean, obviously, we want ESO to be successful. We want it to be that 30-year MMO and commit to it. But if you put all of your eggs in one basket, there's issues. I want to make more games. I'm not done yet. And the teams continue to want to make more games as well. I have a lot of ideas. Hopefully, we'll be able to share those at some point. And the question I have right now is, will in the near future Microsoft greenlight new ideas for new games? It doesn't seem like anybody in the industry right now, or at least amongst the big publishers and the big companies out there, really want to take major risks because of everything that's going on with the rising dev costs, with the longer time it takes to make games, with the margins getting smaller. They're kind of just resting on those sure bets at this point. So new ideas, which were huge at the beginning of this generation, Microsoft was all about greenlighting new ideas. I wonder if Zenimax goes to them in the next year or so with a pitch of something brand new, if they'll be like, yeah, we'll greenlight this for you to start developing it and making it. Maybe they'll just have more strict deadlines as to when stuff has to be delivered and when the game needs to be put out by, and then they can go ahead and start making these new games. Because the problem is, I think, the continuous and the ongoing development time that just never comes to an end. And then obviously milestones don't get met. And then the company has to make a business decision at that point, whether to keep pumping money into a game that you have no guarantee will make the money back, or to cut it off, take those resources and put it on to something else that will be more beneficial. So obviously with the games they canceled, they thought that was the right decision to make. One of the games that was canceled back on the Xbox One, which I think potentially could have been a system seller with the whole exclusivity thing that was still going on back in the last generation, that game was Scalebound. And that game, when it got canceled, I was pretty sad because I thought it looked very, very good. There's always been that discussion, though, as to whose fault was it? Was it Platinum Games? Was it Xbox? And people blame each other for that. But Hideki Kamiya has commented on this. This isn't the first time, and he's taking the blame here for what happened with Scalebound, that it was the responsibility of Platinum Games. He's at his new studio, Clovers. So that'll be cool to see exactly what they're going to be putting out there when they start putting out more of their games. But he says this about what happened here with Scalebound. And as we know, actually, they're working on the new Akami game. So that is pretty cool. But he says, of course, at the small scale we're at right now, making the next Akami game is all that we can handle. But as we scale up and become bigger, hopefully that could be potentially working on the next Akami game or a new IP with another publisher or another Capcom IP. Any of those possibilities would make us happy. And then he also says here, in terms of what happened with Scalebound and whose responsibility it was, says, I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. The failure of Scalebound was ultimately the responsibility of Platinum Games, myself as director included. But because I have now experience working with overseas publishers, I feel that if the opportunity ever comes again, we'll find a way to take advantage of both sides' strengths. So hinting there that obviously working with Xbox, an American publisher, was different than having to work with the Japanese publishers. I mean, they're working with Capcom right now, and that seemingly is going good for them. So there is that cultural differences that probably played a role into what happened with this game and why it wasn't done in time or meeting milestones for it to have to be canceled. But he's taking full blame there for it. So I think that kind of closes the door in the chapter as to who is at fault here, as to why Scalebound didn't get to where it was. I just feel like it's one of those things that happened recently, like that we've seen with cancellations, that just milestones were met, too long to develop. At some point, you have to pull the plug and think we have to put the resources in a better spot. Battlefield 6 is just around the corner, and we've pretty much seen everything about this game. Even though there are leaks coming out now, I don't think this in any way is going to be surprising to anybody, especially because we did get to play the beta and everything. But the vehicles, the weapons, as well as some more gameplay has been revealed here. The weapons and vehicles leaked, but the gameplay for Conquest and Breakthrough modes, some more info has come out about that. So if you're interested in that, go check all of that stuff out there. 6 vehicles, but here are all the vehicles in the game itself. You have the main battle tank, the infantry fighting vehicle, the light ground transport, and the mobile anti-air, the attack helicopter, the transport helicopter, the attack jet, and the fighter jet. Those are all the vehicles that will be here in Battlefield 6. And then All of the weapons have also been revealed. I'm not going to go through them all, but basically everything you would expect from a game like Battlefield 6 and a warfare game like this, with the LMGs and the assault rifles and the SMGs, the carbines and sniper rifles and shotguns and pistols and everything, all of the different types of those that we've seen in other games before. So you can go check out that list if you are interested. And then the Battlefield 6 Mirak Valley gameplay was also revealed for Conquest and Breakthrough modes, which 13 minutes of this with huge maps, massive multiplayer. There's just going to be crazy battles going on in this game when it does end up coming out. We also did hear yesterday that they are keeping the console players with the console players, whether crossplay is on or off. And at the very end, if they don't have enough players in the lobby, they are going to match you with PC players. So hopefully when this game does drop, the whole matchmaking and everything goes well. The servers aren't overloaded where they can't handle it. I feel like the beta would have worked all that out because we were seeing like 500,000 plus people concurrently on Steam at the same time. And I didn't really have any issues. I think some people did jumping into matches, but overall I was pretty good. So I think they'll be completely fine when the game comes out. You have to keep in mind that not everybody is going to be paying full price for this game when it drops. So there may be slightly less players right off of the bat, but everything looks very, very good. And we are at the beginning of Battlefield 6 launching, Call of Duty launching, going into an incredible couple of months here to end off the year in gaming, especially in the first person shooter genre. One of those other games that looks very cool. I love these styles of games, these retro style beat 'em up games. Marvel Cosmic Invasion is a game that is coming out and it's being published here by .emu, which makes phenomenal or publishes phenomenal games like this. They've done previous ones in the past. We got some more heroes added to it. So if you're wondering who you're going to be able to play in this Marvel game, they've added here that Black Panther will be in it, as well as Ghost Rider that you'll be able to play as. Those are just some of the characters that you're going to be able to play here in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Both characters look really fun. I mean, for me, I like them both, but Ghost Rider looks like it'll be a super cool one to end up using. And I can't wait to jump in and play this one. And I played all the other ones that .emu has published in this style, and they've always been just such an enjoyable experience to have. Another game that is coming out this year, we finally got the release date for it. They showed it off at the Nintendo Direct. That was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I'm a big Metroid Prime fan. I absolutely loved them on the GameCube. And I'm really looking forward to this game. I have to say, though, at the Nintendo Direct, the most recent trailer they showed off looked kind of lackluster. If you didn't see it, they were showing off the bike and riding around, but in a pretty empty world. And the graphics seemed very dumbed down comparatively to what we did see when they first showed off the trailer. But the first trailer was in a more condensed place and obviously in a more linear area. So that does kind of make sense. And they're trying to get this game to be running on the Switch and the Switch 2. And they're going to have to get it on both consoles. So it won't be a full Nintendo Switch 2 release, which I think would have pushed it to be even better. But we do have information here that kind of shows a good side of this. Even if the graphics are a bit dumbed down on the Switch 2, you're getting some great performance. We'll have to see if it holds up when the game launches, but quality mode docked is 4K 60 FPS with HDR, which is very nice. Handheld and tabletop 1080p 60 FPS with HDR. Performance mode 1080p docked 120 FPS with HDR. And then in handheld 720p 120 FPS with HDR. So this game is going to be performing very good frame rates on the Nintendo Switch 2. It will be obviously the definitive edition to play this game. It was clearly developed for the first Nintendo Switch, that they're able to push this all the way up to there and give us this great performance. All right, a couple more things here. We have some PlayStation news. First of all, if you haven't heard, PlayStation is releasing a new PS5, a new digital one, for the same price, but with less storage, which is kind of absurd. They have silently released it, the CFI 2216 in Europe. It's on September 13th when they put it out. And the storage will be of the PS5 Slim from 1 terabyte, which is what you can currently get if you don't get this new one. It's going down to 825 gigabytes, but there will be no price change. So they're silently reducing the overall storage you're getting in the PS5 digital edition, keeping the price the same. Simply, I think, to cut costs and to increase their margins for their financial reports in the future. It's crazy that they're doing this, and a lot of people will not know. That is the story I would say about this. If you're not somebody who follows the gaming industry closely, you're walking into the store, you're looking at PS5 after September 13th in Europe, and you're not even going to know that these the memory has reduced down from the 1 terabyte, and you're probably just going to buy this thinking that you're getting the one that everyone else has, who's been getting the 1 terabyte now for a while, but you're not, which is definitely an unfortunate thing. And finally, the PlayStation 6. We're hearing a lot of information come out about it, and this always happens before a couple of years before the console does launch. Take these things with a grain of salt. They could all end up being untrue, as many things were untrue before the launch of the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5. But we have more here from the Moore's Law is Dead, his podcast there. We had some comments on PlayStation 6 games more likely being held back by their PC ports rather than the handhelds. Now they're blaming PC for things on PlayStation that may not be as good as they expected to be. Kind of mind-blowing, but this is where it's going. It says here that during a new episode of the Moore's Law is Dead Broken Silicon podcast, Massive Damage's Brian Heemsker commented on the rumored next-gen systems by Sony, making some interesting observations on how the handheld system is unlikely to hold back the home console, highlighting that we are now in the post-resolution era where a game such as Street Fighter 6 looks better on the Nintendo Switch 2 than on the Xbox Series S. And thanks to NVIDIA DLSS, even though it runs at a lower resolution on the Nintendo system, and focusing on resolution targets rather than scaling down visual settings, which most devs apparently find more impactful, scaling down games from their home console version to their handheld version shouldn't be a huge hurdle, especially if the leaked specs are correct and using upscaling tech like PSSR and AMD FSR4, which is getting better and better rather quickly. And even the differences between the PS6 and the handheld system end up being bigger than the leaked specs suggest. There likely won't be a repeat of the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S situation, mostly due to market share. So at this point, they say here that Massive Damage's Brian Heemskirk, the now inevitable PC ports have a higher chance of holding back PlayStation 6 games, saying that nowadays every PlayStation console game is being developed with a PC port that will follow the console release in mind, and having to take into consideration different system configurations, many sporting dated hardware, like entry-level GPUs from a few generations back, and storage bottlenecks. Developers are unlikely to create a game that pushes a console to the absolute limit if this eventually leads to issues developing the PC port down the line. So kind of funny, because obviously this whole gen, everyone was looking at the Series S. Oh, this is holding back gaming. This is holding back the console generation. And now, with the rumors coming out, they're coming out slowly, and it may or may not happen that the PS6 is going to have a handheld that games will have to run on top of the home console. So they will have that dual SKU. The narrative now is shifting to this is going to be the PC side of things that will hold back gaming in the next gen, not the dual SKUs that PlayStation 6 will have, which everybody blamed Xbox for having with the Xbox Series S. So just kind of funny thinking about that one there. But on the video there, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.